Michele are podcast's most interesting and loving couple. Join them every week as this radio personality and this author come together to let you into their lives.
All right, honey.
Yes, love.
We're back.
And it's 2022.
We're back in 2022, the year we're going to get married.
Marriage.
It's all good. You know, so you're doing wife things already?
I've been doing wife things since she got here.
Oh, yeah. But you're definitely doing wife things when you put me on some, like, carbonated water here that I have.
Yeah, it's good shit, right?
You know what it is? What company it is?
I don't actually know. So, like, growing up, my grandma used to get these from Aldi all the time, and the bottle used to just say Sam's Choice on the side in red. It's like a clear plastic bottle. So I don't think that's the brand anymore, but my grandma used to get these, and it was always like the biggest treat when she would share them with us, because it was like getting soda.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in a house that we got dessert on Sundays and on holidays. Like, my grandma didn't make a lot of cakes and cookies and stuff until we got older, and she started doing it more for business. So I grew up in a house where we had, like, fruit for dessert, you know? So, we drank water, juice, or milk. So it wasn't, like, getting carbonated water was like, oh, we're getting some of Grandma's Pop, because we were young, and that's all we knew was, like, Grandma's Pop. But it was actually carbonated water. So
it's genius.
When I was in high school, we had a track coach who said to us one day, like, if I see anybody on my track team drink a soda, I'm gonna throw your soda in the garbage. Like, I don't care if you just bought it. I don't care if I walk up to you on the street. If I see you with a cup in your hand, I'm throwing it in the trash. So this kid decided he would test the theory. And he got one of those 44-ounce joints.
Oh, you're an idiot. Why would you try that with that light of a bottle? Yeah.
And he got one of the 44-ounce cups, 89 cents. And he was just like the manager of the team. But he used to drink soda all the time. And our track coach walked up to him, plucked that cup out of his hand, dumped it out, and said, "Here, you can keep your cup." Like, I was like, I don't want you to lose your cup, bro.
These are some big gulp cups.
Yeah, so big gulps. So I don't drink soda, like, a lot, you know? And so I was always able to go back to these as, like, a go-to, because they're 0 calories, they're sugar-free.
Well, we need to find how they can sponsor this podcast.
I'm sure we can find some.
Okay.
And this isn't the only brand. Like, I love these ones because you can get them at Aldi, and they're the best ones. Like, they have other ones I tried, because there's a period of time where I couldn't find these. And the other ones, you could actually buy, like, 24 in a case, but they weren't as good. Like, you could get strawberry and peach and stuff, but instead of it being, like, clear and delicious, it was, like, the peach was orange colored, the strawberry was, like, red.
Yeah.
And then there was, like, a lemon lime that was yellow. Like, they tried to make it too much like soda. And so the taste was really, really strange. So every time I go to Aldi now, I look for these. And finally, we were leaving, like, we were going to check out because I got tired of looking for them. And my mom was like, "Oh, here they are." And there's, like, a bunch of them. And I was like, I can't wait for my fiance to get to try these. Because, like, I know you don't drink a lot of soda, but you'll drink something carbonated if it's here. And so,
definitely,
as someone who,
if it's soda, energy drink, or just anything carbonated, I like carbonated stuff, but I don't rush to buy soda, no.
Yeah. Well, no, and I know that you don't. Yeah. So I wanted you to be able to like this because I wanted you to have something that, was still carbonated, but that was also better for you.
Taking care of me. Look at that. You need to find yourself a woman who does that, people.
I mean, yeah, like and it's mutual. Like, as far as partnership goes, you take care of me in all of the same ways. I think that when you care about someone, especially going into marriage, we're about to be married. And so going into marriage, it's not, I don't just want you to know that I love you. Like, I want you to know that I love you and that I'm going to provide for you in the ways that I know how, but that will still make you happy. Like, I'm not going to ever twist some things around and be like, "Oh, well, I want you to drink this because I think it's better for you." Yeah. I'm always going to be like, "Hey, do you want to try this? Because it's good for you. And I want what's going to be good for you, not necessarily things, what I think is best for you.
I love that.
Me too.
Well, this is completely going to the other side of that type of conversation. Okay. We've been in them before, honey. Yeah. Toxic relationships.
Shout out toxic relationships.
Her name is Sylvia Congest.
Oh, she must be a doctor.
Yeah, she says a toxic relationship is one in which you end up suffering or feeling unhappy, creating symptoms of anxiety and depression, and gradually making you lose yourself. Congas told Insider that it can happen when you suffer from emotional or physical abuse, but it can also happen in relationships where you simply have nothing in common. There are also a number of things that indicate you may not be with the right person, and Congas shared some of these common symptoms of toxic relationships on her website. So you want to go through some of these?
I want to go through some of these, and I want us, as we go through them, to, say yes or no, like, have we been in the situation, and what did it look like for us?
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So the first one I like that idea because especially this first one is big. You're constantly having doubts about the relationship, but thinking you can fix it.
Oh, definitely. Especially with my ex fiance. I had a lot of different doubts, but I would always tell myself like, oh, well, he has so much potential, or, you
try to convince yourself that. Yeah. This is not how it's always going to go, even though you've been in the situation for a few years now, and that's how it's going to go. Yeah. Yeah. No, this one is big because in situations like this, I've had conversations with my friends, like my guy friends, and I go, when this relationship is over, like I never even just said, well, this is why we should stick together, or this is why we need to make it work. I'm already just doubting it. And going, it's going to be over. So when it's over, I'm going to do this, this, and that. And, that's when I knew it should have been done.
So you essentially planned for the inevitability that the relationship was going to end.
Yeah, like I knew it was going to end, and I was, like, gathering what I was going to do after the situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Toxic.
Very.
Toxic.
Yeah.
You're unable to think about life without the other person, even if you dislike many of their personal traits.
So I've never succumbed to the extent that she's referring to. Like, it's hard, especially when you're like dealing with a breakup. The first thing you start to think is like, man, what am I going to do without this person? Or, it took me a very long time to get used to sleeping alone again. Mm-hmm. But it was never like a
dependency,
and it was never a manipulation either. There's never a manipulation factor for me either. So like I've been with guys, and I know that you've probably been with girls who've done this, but I've been with guys who told me like, oh, if you leave me, I'll kill myself.
Yep. Like
I've never had that kind of dependency on another person that I was dating.
So definitely when I was younger, because I convinced myself that I was so happy. I'm like, how the hell am I going to be happy after getting out of this situation? And it was like, I was definitely in situations where I was making myself believe that I was emotionally dependent, even though when it was over, I was just like, whew, thank God that's over. Like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But like in the moment when you're talking to them about breaking up or you're having those conversations, it's kind of like, oh, fuck. But when it was over for me. Like, I literally had no attachment to it. I was like, oh, whatever. However the situation is, you either cheated on me or we just didn't end up working out, or I was broken up with. Like, in the breakup process, that's when I always felt that, like, I can't do this without you. But then when it's over and they cut the cord, I'm like, yeah, I really can do this without you,
Well, and I like that you mentioned the, when you're younger portion of it, because let's face it, when we're younger, when we're teenagers, when we're school age, the only thing we have really control of is what happens at school. Like, who our friends are, who, we're dating, how well we're doing in class. Like, that's all within our control. So as young people who don't have that kind of control in their everyday lives, when a high school relationship ends, it's like the end of the world.
That's what I'm saying.
It feels like the end of the world because it's like, oh, I see you every single day. I'm with you probably on the weekends.
Right.
You're coming to my house.
That's your life.
My
like, that's legitimately your life.
Our friends, we're in the same friend circle. Like, who's going to be my friend when this is over? Because it feels so dramatic and it feels world ending. But then when you start living life and, get into your mid to late 20s, your 30s, and so on, you just are like, man, I can't believe I acted like that.
I literally look back and I go,
wow.
God, I was such a pussy. Like, sometimes I tell myself, like, man, I was such a bitch. Like, I was the bitch in some of the relationships. I'm not even going to lie to you. It's really interesting that that's up there. The relationship is continuing out of necessity. Yeah, that was my last relationship.
Oh, mine too, definitely.
My last relationship, I was freaking out because I wasn't going to be financially capable. And to be fair, I also felt, because I knew that she was dependent on me financially. So I also kind of felt bad because I still cared about this person. But I felt bad like, well, if I leave, I can go home. My mom will always take me in. I can say F all this. You know what I'm saying? But I start thinking like, well, I'm in my mid-20s, so I don't want to go home. I don't want to be at my mom's house. I've already spent so much money moving places and doing all this stuff. And this person is going to struggle just as much as I am if I end this off.
Yeah. So,
like, I thought of us both in the realm of, like, financial dependency. And it went way, way longer than it should have.
So, I knew in the spring of 2017 that Marquise and I shouldn't be married. That was around the first time that we postponed the wedding. And I was dealing with some health stuff, and he wasn't working. Like, there was a lot happening, but that's when, like, all of the...
Everything started to come to light.
Like, the red flags.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like a matador. And, like, I felt like the bull. Like I was just running towards it, man. Like, I was just determined to crash course with that red flag. But I was ignoring it, Like, I was like, oh, it'll get better. And it just got worse. So I was miserable for, like, the last year and a half that we were even together. So of the 5 years that we were together, the last year and a half was the worst.
Yeah.
And it's because... like, I knew, like, my name was on the apartment. My name was on all the utilities. I was the more financially stable of the two of us. Like, I knew that he depended on me. Like, his grandmother used to joke and be like, oh, she's your backbone. And it was like she was joking, but she was serious. Like, she used to tell him, like, I don't know what you're going to do with that.
You don't just say that about any chick.
Yeah. Like, she used to say it. Like, one day he called her because he was mad at me and asked could he come and stay at his grandma's house. And she was like, no. And I don't know what you did to MM. That's what she used to call me, was MM. She's like, I don't know what you did to MM, but if she leaves you, it's on you, bro. Like, yeah, you can't come stay here. You can stay here for an hour or two, go home.
Yeah.
Like, when I go to bed, you go home. Hello. And so, she called me and was like, Marquise had the nerve to call me and ask me, could he stay at my house? Because y'all were in a fight. What did he do? Like his family knew.
They knew.
Man, I didn't mean to name drop him like that.
It's okay.
We'll just beep it out.
No, it's all right.
So...
you said his name before, so it's fine.
That's facts. But I just, I felt that toward the end. And eventually I just had to decide, am I going to sink or swim? Like, am I going to allow caring about what happens to you to continue to hold me back from what I can do?
Sure, yeah. Absolutely. Let's do this one. This is a big one. You lack healthy communication. Oh, yeah. So this is self-explanatory because communication is one of those things that is something you spot in the beginning.
People say communication is simple. And in theory, it is. But in practice, it isn't. And let me, think about...
Hold on one second. I agree with you, though. I think communication is the hardest thing in a relationship.
It definitely is. It's
the hardest over anything else.
Especially if you think about triggers. Not everyone is aware of what their triggers are. So sometimes you're communicating in a way that's unhealthy because you're reacting instead of interacting. But even more than that, when you come from a family, for example, such as mine, I come from a very don't ask, don't tell family. Like, we don't talk. We didn't really start communicating in a way that was truly healthy until after my grandmother passed. Like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
That's not okay for us to have just now gotten to a point where we can communicate honestly. Like, we can honestly say, hey, so-and-so, you hurt my feelings and this is what you did. Mm-hmm. It's no longer just like, oh, Michelle's being a bitch, or that's just how, so-and-so acts. Like, she's just mean, or, there's no...
or she'll get over it.
Or she'll get over it. Like, it's not... it's not that thing, or it's like we don't talk about it, and then the next time you see them, you're just supposed to be over it after some time has passed. Like, I came from a family like that. So I was always determined to communicate with my partners in a way that was more healthy, but that wasn't always easy because I didn't come from a family that communicates in a way that's healthy. And so when you grow up in situations where the examples of how you should build a relationship start at home. Whether it's friendships, whether it's romantic, whether it's, student teacher, all of those start in your home. And you pick up how your family communicates. You pick up, if your dad tells you, oh, well, son, don't tell so-and-so about this. And then they start telling you what you're not allowed to tell. Then when you're ready to speak, you don't know if you're allowed to. You don't know if it's okay to bring that stuff up. Or my mom told me a story about how she was like, I never have been a promoter of eating at other people's houses. She was like, but I got older and realized that's halfway rude. She was like, on the one hand, I grew up with a mom who said to me all the time, don't go over to this person's house and say you're hungry. Like, that's a big no in our family. You never go somewhere to someone else's house and say, I'm hungry. Because then it looks like you're not taking care of your kids. You don't feed them, yeah. So, my mom got used to not eating at other people's houses. And on the one hand, part of it is she's really picky about food. But on the other hand, it's like she was raised essentially to act like everyone else's food was less than what she was getting at home. Like, she was raised in a way that it was okay to say you're not hungry or I don't want to eat that. Mm-hmm. So then on the flip side, you raise your kids, you tell them you need to eat all your food, and then what do they want to ask you? Like, why do I have to do it if you don't? So then those kids get into relationships, and the first thing that they ask their partner is, well, why do I have to behave this way if you don't?
That's so real.
So I agree. I think that everyone needs to focus on communication, but you need to figure out what healthy communication looks like for you, what your triggers are, and how to communicate those triggers with your partner so that the two of you can communicate in a way that's healthy.
Yeah. And a lot of my triggers came from past relationships.
Yeah.
Because I had a healthy upbringing, and we were told that, but I also shaped my life into having really good friends where people were like, my house is your house. When you're here, you can go into the fridge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So growing up, I really got to shape my life in that way. So a lot of my triggers came from past relationships because of, we've talked about it on the podcast before, affection being weaponized for me.
Yeah.
Like, that was a major, major thing. If you were upset with me, I'm not getting no physical reassurance, no nothing. So yeah, no, I mean that's a big thing, and that's something you would definitely have to talk about and navigate. You're always having the same arguments. That goes back to communication. I really believe that when you can't figure out communication and you haven't figured out what your triggers are or how to navigate them with your partner, you're gonna go in circles. You're gonna continue to fight about the same shit.
I agree with that, but I also, more than anything, feel like it goes to whether or not you're capable of healing. It's one thing to say, oh, you'll get over it, but it's another thing to establish this doesn't hurt me anymore. Like, I've healed from the pain that this argument or disagreement has caused.
Sure.
And so, when you and I have conversations and, even if they lead to arguments, because we're not perfect, the one thing that we consistently do when we're communicating is we make sure that not only we're leaving with an understanding, but that we're leaving knowing we're both okay. Or, you'll say it or I'll say it. Like, you'll say, are you okay? And I say, I will be. And then we'll leave it at that for a while. And then you'll come back and say, like, are you okay now? Or do we need to talk about it more? Or whatever. Because let's face it, like, sometimes it takes one person longer to get over something than the other. But you have to truly heal from that. And you have to truly move forward, or else you're going to keep having the same arguments. And then you have to figure out, once you keep having those arguments, what are you going to do about them? Like, contrary to popular belief, I'll say this until the day I die. It's not healthy to continue to fight with a partner who is always cheating on you. Like, people who say to other people who get in relationships, like, oh, he'll cheat, like, dude's gonna cheat. No, that's not okay. Don't tell me to get with someone and then tell me that it's okay if they cheat on me. Or if they hit me.
Don't normalize bad behavior.
Don't normalize bad behavior.
Yeah, cheating is just one aspect of it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about stealing. And as you said, abuse, physical abuse. Like, when will you call the end of it? When is it over?
When is it over? So when you're thinking about, are you having the same argument? Are you having the same conversation over and over? At some point, you have to decide, I'm done having this talk with you. Like, I'm done. We're not getting anywhere. I'm done. And now we need to figure out, what does done mean? Does done mean that we're done? Does done mean that we're just going to agree to not bring this up anymore because we can't agree? Like, figure out what done means, but you have to decide that you're done.
And then the last bullet point on this list, how you know you're in a toxic relationship. You're becoming isolated from your friends and your mood is worsening.
Yeah, that's definitely. I think, again, it goes back to, like, the last year and a half that Marquise and I were together. I was pretty much only happy when I was at work or when I was away from him.
Yeah.
Like,
when you're having your girl nights and stuff.
Going home. And it definitely shouldn't be like that. Like, you should never put yourself in a position where you hate just going home to that person.
Or hate waking up next to them and trying to figure out what kind of day you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, it's so dreadful. It's horrible. The article goes on to say, a healthy relationship implies that each partner feels accepted, free, and fulfilled. But if you noticed any of these symptoms repeating in your relationship, then it may be because you're someone who tends to become emotionally dependent. You become addicted to your partner, and you end up in a toxic relationship. Reasons why some are more likely to end up in toxic relationships. While it's not actually possible to be addicted to a toxic relationship, Conga said that there can be an inclination. For example, this could happen for when a child experiences their parents' toxic relationship. If our parents had a toxic relationship and we understand that we have learned from them and that we have been programmed to look for the same thing, that it's for this reason that we end up recreating this in our own lives until we become aware of it. And that's exactly what you said. It was one of the first things you said during this conversation is how we saw how we were treated and how things happened at home.
Yeah, it goes back to the communication part. Like, if you see, if this is how you're raised to communicate, if this is how you're raised to behave, and it's been accepted or allowed to continue into adulthood, then you go out into the world and then you spread that around.
Yeah. she also says this isn't the only reason. Those who have low self-esteem, feelings of insecurity and unworthiness, or those who are going through a difficult time in their lives, experience a big loss or unexpected event, can also end up in a toxic relationship. Other traits that can make you more likely to choose harmful relationships: a person who tends to deceive themselves with obvious self-esteem issues, who likes to play the savior, looking for partners with problems, addictions, or disorders. So that's a big one too, right? Like trying to be the
hero. Or like I deserve thanks for,
Yeah.
I know someone who I don't deal with anymore, but you and I had a conversation about the fact that, like, how does someone like her go into nursing? And like, you are such a train wreck, but you want everyone to acknowledge, oh, I'm a nurse and I help people. No.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like, you're not. That's nuts.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, I love this article. Thank you for bringing this one to my attention, because it really highlights what some people might say are so self-explanatory, but a lot of people don't practice this in their relationships.
Yeah, and a lot of people, especially in the last couple of years, while dealing with COVID, people have been allowing trauma to bond them instead of bonding over like healing and what did your healing journey look like. Like, toxic relationships are the same. Like, you get into a toxic relationship and I'm actually almost scared to see what people's relationships are going to look like in the next couple of years, because you find so many people who, I moved in with this person because they lost their job during COVID and we were already together and they were going to lose their house. Or, like, you hear all these relationship stories of how trauma bonded them. And yeah, we know, like, some of these people's relationships will work and it'll be beautiful. But a couple of years down the line, we're going to see a lot of people not together because they allowed trauma to bond them.
That's so real. That's so real. If you want to read this article for yourself, I'll make sure to link it in the show description, so make sure you check that out. Honey, I love you.
I love you.
We have a Rufus walking into the room right now.
Hi, baby. He's mad at me.
He came in here so fast.
He did. Hi. You came to see your mama? Yeah.
Baby boy. We love Rufus.
Yeah, we do.
He's so great.
I'm sorry, your dog's not as good as mine.
No, and your dog is never going to be as photogenic as ours.
Facts. He poses and he smiles in all of his pictures. Oh, he thinks we're going to play.
Okay, he thinks we're going to play. Here's his toy. It's
his favorite toy.
Yeah, it's his favorite toy. He carries this around the house in his mouth a lot.
Yeah, shout out Kong Dog Toys.
Yeah, Kong Dog Toys. It's a seahorse. Baby boy, we're recording. Okay. All right. So we got to do Tik Tok Teardown. Okay. That's what's happening today.
Or that's what I thought we were.
That's what I thought I was going to be able to do, but I'm pulling and playing tug with our dog right now.
Get him, baby. Get him.
What do you have to say?
Okay.
He's trying to bite the microphone.
Don't. That'll break your teeth.
All right.
What kind of relationship advice do we have for
I don't know. I got so distracted by a cute dog.
Okay.
Okay, very good. All right, Here's our TikTok for a TikTok Teardown today.
4 things you need to hear today. Number 1, no relationship was a waste of time. If it didn't bring you what you want, it taught you what you didn't want.
All right, Pastor.
Amen.
Somebody needs to add a hallelujah in the background.
Number 2, the secret to happiness is letting every situation be what it is instead of what you think it should be. Let everything flow. You need to start understanding that you can't
out here.
Okay, Drake.
what it is instead of what you think it should be. Let everything flow. You need to start understanding that you can't control everything in life. The things that are out of your control, you shouldn't stress about.
Leave them in God's hands.
Hey, he even got his Tony Braxton on, talking about some let it flow.
Things that you can't control, make sure you work on it. Number 3, struggle is temporary. Sacrifices are like investments. Give up the short-term comfort for the long-term win. Stay patient and keep focused. Number 4, stop hanging around people who think growth is competition. If they try to shoot you down instead of trying to bring you up, then they can't be around you. Your circle should never be in competition with you. When you win, they win. When they win, you win.
That last one is real.
That last one is real. He should have said that first.
People will show their jealous colors.
Facts.
And every time, and you'll notice it. You'll notice it that when you start to tell them your wins, they'll try to one-up your wins.
Yeah.
When it doesn't even come close, but they feel like that's how they should respond to it.
And it's not even just wins, it's everything. You know, if I tell someone, like, I got a new purse and new shoes for Christmas, for example, then depending on who I tell, it's either going to be like, oh, that's dope, or, oh, well, my dude got me a purse, a shoes, and a watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, I can't be around people like that. It's so bad for my spirit.
And one of the things that I loved about this list, too, was leaving things as they are.
Yeah.
You know, our relationships, our past relationships, and how so many times we've just talked about, like, seeking revenge and, you know, keep seeing what they're up to see how much of a failure they've become.
Yeah.
And that's fun and all, but so many good things are happening in our relationship. And my mom likes you, and your mom likes me, and your best friend took me in, and my best friend loves you. And we just have such a great situation that none of that stuff matters.
Yeah. And, you know, like, hearing Terica say it a few months ago was real.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, hearing my dad say it when you finally got to meet my dad
Yep.
was really the thing that did it for me. When he was just like, you know, I know how you feel about them, but let them stay where they are.
That was real.
There's no reason for you to wonder what he's doing, how he's doing, or who he's doing it with. There's no reason for you to send a copy of your, you know, wedding announcement. Like, none of that. There's no reason to give them the parts of your life that they didn't earn.
And yeah, no, that was the best thing to hear, because ever since then, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It literally doesn't matter. And, you know, I don't wish anything bad on people. I really have seen what comes out of that. So, you know, I really will kill them with kindness. Like, I hope that they're happy without me.
The only thing that he said that I don't 100% agree with is number 3 about, like, struggling and sacrifice.
Okay,
Like, yeah, it does take some sacrifices, but we also have to acknowledge sometimes people start in a better place in life than other people. And because of where they started, they end better.
Mm-hmm.
That's not everybody, but let's face it, we live in a world where certain people will always be oppressed, or, you know,
Listen,
they'll never
the rich
really
stays
be
rich
able
and the
to
poor
rise
stays
up.
poor.
Yeah.
Unless you really work your ass off and whatever, but, like, that's genuinely the case, or generally the case, excuse me.
Right. So I do agree, you know, there's ways to overcome struggle, but you can't just, like, blanket statement like that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that people can't sacrifice, even if they wanted to. Like, there's a lot of things that you can't choose to sacrifice just so that you can be successful.
Well, 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
Facts. 75%. He's clearly average.
He got it. I would say that's above average out of 4. Right? Average would be 50.
Well, but 75 was a C.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Average?
I guess, no, you're right.
Because it goes to F, so
It goes
C's
to
in
F.
the middle.
You're right. You're giving letter grades.
Yeah.
I understand what's
You
happening.
get a C, sir.
You get a C. Come on and try again.
It takes 2.
All right, Hairspray. I see you.
Hey.
All right,
I just wanna
we
be
got
like
2 Hairspray references in one day.
We did.
right.
The first one was so funny.
Listen, we are doing another episode tomorrow. Also, stay here for an episode on Friday where we're going to talk about some other good things. You know, we've had so much content that we've gathered up in the month that we weren't on.
Yeah.
Thanks to you, Lovely. You had so much stuff.
It's because I love to read. Look, and I'm really excited about this because then we'll have radio content this weekend. You guys hang out with Troy and the Play family. So you guys will get so much of us this week.
Do we want to announce what's happening?
We're going to wait.
We're going to wait on that.
Yeah, we're going to wait.
We're going to wait on that.
We'll tell them on Friday or Saturday.
Friday?
Friday.
All right, I love you.
Love you.
Hi, beautiful.
Hi, handsome.
Unpopular opinions for this first of 3 episodes we're dropping this week.
I know, making up for our lack of episodes in December. But December was busy. We were sick, and then you were really sick, and I've been having this crazy tooth pain. And, I mean, there's just a lot going on after I got out of the hospital in November, and we had to spend December getting our life back right.
Well, there's still a lot going on, but we wanted to make sure we got this also done for you. We wanted to put some stuff out there for you because there have been people asking us where our stuff has been, where the hell we've been doing, you know?
Like, where are you? Can we get some episodes?
Yeah, so...
Like, how are you doing, Michele? Thanks. Glad you care.
Here's some unpopular opinions, though, that we hold. These are, of course, our own opinions, and they do not reflect those of the listeners.
Or something. It depends who's listening.
Yeah, maybe some of you agree.
Yeah.
Honey, give me your first one.
Oh, my first one for 2022 is if you are perpetually single and you don't want to be, it's 100% you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Bro, you need to ask yourself what the problem is. They do have life coaches, you guys. Like, get help.
Yeah, and or just like... A lot of it, too, comes from people being picky. Like, I've always noticed that people who are continuously single are always picky. And they can't find something that they can actually, like, okay, you know, they might have these 3 out of the 5 things I was looking for instead of, like, because they believe they're going to find the 5 out of 5.
Yeah, but here's the worst part about it, though. It's always... the middle-aged moms with 4 more kids talking about how she can't find a good man.
You damn right.
You are certainly correct, ma'am. You got you plus 4. That's like a starting 5 basketball team. Like, get your shit together. Like, once you start having multiple children and you're still single, you need to lower your standards, bro. You just need someone that's going to help you buy groceries. Stop with the extra.
Here's mine, my first one. Senior discounts are stupid.
I knew you were going to choose that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and the person who wrote this, I agree with them because they were saying, like, I work at a store and I constantly see these old people come in with new iPhones, iPhone 13s and nice shoes and good-looking clothes. They own their houses. But they want a small little discount because I'm over a certain age.
Here's the thing. First of all, no one cares that you're over 65. Sit down.
Facts.
Like, you made it. Kudos. But the thing about senior citizen discounts that I don't like is, like, it's equal opportunity. Only broke old people should get discounts. Like, if you're old and your only income is, like, Social Security or SSI or something, you get a senior discount. If you're old and you have a pension and a retirement savings and you live on a golf course, you're paying full price.
Yeah.
Sit down. Like, you don't get to be old and rich and get the senior discount because you got old.
Give me your second one.
Oh, goodness. A person is not obligated to forgive you just because you apologize. Here's the thing. First, I don't know why you hate me. Stop.
I don't hate you. Don't say that.
So this is big for me, especially because I will not apologize if you don't earn it. Like, Danny will tell you, and I'm sure it'll come up as we continue podcasting. I'm not a good apologizer. Like, I will logic it out. Like, all right, so these are the 3 things I did wrong. This is my area of improvement. This is what I did right, you know? And then he'll be like, are you going to apologize? Like, no, I learned. Like, what are you saying right now? So the fact that
because what I don't understand about that
to apologize.
Well, and I think if I know that I upset you, I'm gonna apologize for upsetting you. I just look for that in return. If you say that you're hurt when your partner's hurt, and you upset them or you hurt them by saying or doing something, I think you should want to apologize because you don't mean to hurt that person. And if you recognize, it's a combination of what you're saying. I learned the things that I shouldn't have done or that I need to improve on, but also I'm sorry that my actions hurt you. I really feel like that's what it is.
And I get that. Like, and it's just me, and, I love you for working on me. But the fact is, for me, I don't feel like it's okay to apologize for your hurt feelings. Like, and I know that probably will not make sense to people, but it makes perfect sense to me. Like, yeah, I'm sorry that you're hurt, that your feelings were hurt, and I'm sorry that I did it. But I feel like you sound like an asshole if you say, I'm sorry your feelings are hurt.
No, but you don't have to say that. But that's what I'm trying to say to you, right? If you say that, then you shouldn't ever say, if you're hurt, I'm hurt. If you're upset, I'm upset. Because that makes it null and void.
That's fair.
That makes it null and void. That's not real. Then.
And I do want to also establish, the bigger part of this is the forgiveness part. And that's the thing I agree with. Like, there's some things that you just can't come back from. Regardless of whether or not you received an apology, there's some
places you can go, man, that there's no coming back.
Yeah, like there's people, that our relationship will never be the same just based on things that they've done. Whether or not they apologized is irrelevant.
I was talking about my former best friend.
Oh yeah.
It'll never be the same. We'll talk. It's cool. But not best man status. That's nuts.
Yeah, that is.
Here's my second one. Hotels and high-rise buildings need to stop avoiding the use of the 13th floor. Can I tell you, this is something that the Brooklyn boys bring up all the time. Stop with the fucking no 13th floor, no 13th row on the airplane. The 14th row is the 13th row.
Yeah.
Just because you put another number on it doesn't mean that it isn't a 13th row. That's stupid.
That is stupid. Because it doesn't mean that there are not 13 floors.
Yes. You're just saying that it's not the number 13, even though it is.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And give me your last one.
God, this is hard. So, my last one for this first episode of the week is, it's gotta be, if I'm not brought the check within 23 minutes after finishing my meal, I should be able to leave without paying.
1,000%.
I agree with this. Like, I agree you see I'm done. You see we're just, having casual conversation.
You know what's the worst?
Food.
Even if they come over and they ask you, how was the meal, guys? Do you need the check?
Yeah.
And I say, yeah.
And then they still make you wait.
And they still make you wait? Listen, all you gotta do is print out a piece of fucking paper.
Yeah.
I understand you have other tables to take care of and other things to do, but just bring the paper to me and collect it when you collect it.
Now, that's one thing I can say about what I appreciate about technology these days. I love that you can go to, places like Applebee's, and there's an iPad tablet on the table. Yeah. And you can just pay. I love that there are electronic tickets now. You can pay,
swipe, and go.
Yep. All in the same transaction. You don't have to wait for someone to bring you a damn check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that one.
What do you got for me? What's your last one for the first episode of the week?
I am having a tough time trying to pick.
Well, then give me 2.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give you 2 good ones. This one's the most controversial one, so I'm going to get it out of the way. Most homeless people, obviously not all, actually choose to be homeless. And I understand people's argument for homeless people buying booze and saying, oh, if that's how they're going to get through life and that's how, they can kill their stresses away, then let them fucking drink or whatever. No. How about if somebody's passing you by and giving you some money, go open an account. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to know somebody. One person, a friend, somebody that can open an account under your name or even under their name, and you could put the money in their savings. Or you can walk around town and look for a we're hiring sign.
I mean, the thing also, because yes, I agree that this is controversial, but the reality is homeless doesn't always mean that you don't have a home either. Like, think about it. There are people, especially like up in the 2,000 some odd miles of the Appalachian Trail, the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Smokies. Like, there are people who choose to just walk away from society and go forage. And they hunt and they live outside of,
That's because they choose to.
Right. But those people are technically homeless. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't disagree with you, but I just wanted to break it down, for people who don't think about how outdoorsmen prefer that
if that's your lifestyle, cool.
Or like you commonly see, in mountain regions or rural regions where you'll see somebody who lives in a cabin in the woods. It's a one-room cabin, log stove. Like, most people, for them, that's the equivalent of like being
luxury.
Homeless or, or luxury.
On the other end, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. And then this one is about the one. Plastic surgery should only be used for those who are disfigured due to an injury or disability. Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like an accident. I don't think people should be out here being able to do anything they want to their faces and their bodies and shit. I really think that's ridiculous.
So, for me, if you're gonna, plastic surgery for me is just more extreme tattooing. So I'm team tattoo. Like, that's your body, do whatever you want to do with it. My issue with plastic surgery, and I think that this should be an issue across the board, make people really have to pay for it. Like, I don't think people should be able to... Remember I told you about my former coworker at Lowe's whose ex-husband maxed out all her credit cards and gave her hella debt because he used all her information to transition from male to female. Mm-hmm. So that's my issue with it, is like, you shouldn't be able to steal my identity and buy new boobs. So then I got to pay off your boobs for the rest of my life. You should have to pay cash or, figure out some kind of a payment where you're actually paying for the procedure that you claim to want. I think that if people really had to pay for it, then it wouldn't be as prevalent as it is today.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's good. Well, those are some unpopular opinions we hold. If you want to submit some to us, go ahead and tweet them, put them on Facebook. Just use the hashtag DITDM opinion so that we know what the hell you're sending to us.
Yeah.
And we can read it on our podcast.
Facts. You can even comment on our YouTube videos. We go back and we read those.
And we respond to them too.
We respond to them. Or you can email us at downinthedmpod@gmail.com. Or if you really feel froggy, you can text us at
973-440-9577.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Thank you for having my back. I didn't know the goddamn number.
I love you.
I love you.